Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is for Pause in a Book. I make book and lifestyle related content, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Today I'm going to be reviewing my anticipated releases for the year so far up until the point that we are at and seeing if I've actually read them. Okay, so I think I've done pretty well when it comes to front list books. I think I've read a lot of 2022 releases. I don't have an exact number on it, but I think I've done pretty well. It feels like I have anyways. That being said, we're halfway into quarter three, so we have a lot of books to talk about today that have been on my anticipated releases list. I do a list for every quarter. I didn't do one for quarter one, or at least I didn't make a video of it. A lot of times it's just because it gets lost in the end of your content. For one reason or another, I did not make the video, but I did just pull the books that I requested on NetGalley, which is generally how I make these videos anyways. But I do have a video for quarter two and for quarter three. I'll link those down in the description below if you would like to hear my original thoughts on these. But I want to talk about these lists today and see if I've read those books, what I thought about those books, or why maybe I haven't read them yet. So we'll start with quarter one, which would have been January, February, and March. And I had 6 books that I was anticipating that I requested on NetGalley that I was really excited about. And of those 6, I have read 5 of them. So we'll talk about them. The first one was The Kindred by Alicia Dow. This is actually a prequel to The Sound of Stars. The Sound of Stars was one of my favorite books that I read in 2020, or it made an honorable mention. I don't know. It was really up there. So I was really excited about this one. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. It was the first book that I read in 2022. So very excited about that one. It is an absolutely beautiful cover. It's a book that I will keep, but I gave it 3.5 stars. I think that parts of the story were not fully baked, as we could say. It was just a little bit underdeveloped. It kind of felt like the author was on a deadline, on a rush. But I did really like the characters of this. Okay, secondly was Electric Idol by Katee Robert. I actually read Neon Gods very early in January and then immediately requested Electric Idol. So wouldn't have necessarily been on my anticipated releases video if I would have done one in December. But immediately after finishing Neon Gods, this one came out in late January, and so I requested the ARC so that I could continue the series. And so I gave this one 4.5 stars. I love this one. This has a plus-size main character. It is the Eros and Psyche retelling. It's the second book in the Dark Olympus series. This series is fantastic. Okay, then we have Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This one came out in early March, and obviously I read this one and loved this one. Obviously, this is still my favorite book that I've read all year. I've talked about it a lot. Another book that I was really excited about was Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This is a haunted house story. It definitely has the Schwab atmospheric writing. I didn't get approved for the ARC of this one, so I read it very soon after it released, which is something that I'm noticing I'm doing more often this year. Again, reading more front list books. I don't know why that is, but here we are. I did end up giving this one 4 stars. I really liked it. This one I think is going to be really interesting because I think that it's either going to be on a lot of people's favorite books of the year or least favorite books of the year. There were very few people that fell in the middle of this. And then lastly was the book that I have not read yet, and that is Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. This is a YA contemporary, and it's been getting a ton of praise on BookTube. So I don't know why I haven't picked this one up. It hasn't been one that has screamed at me. It is on my A to Z TBR though, so I will be reading it at some point this year. Moving on to quarter two, or April, May, June, I had 10 books that were on my anticipated releases video, and of those 10, I have read 8. So 80%, not bad. I'm okay with that, okay? I'm good with that. The first one I have not read, and that is In a Garden Burning Gold by Rory Power. This one I'm just really nervous about, right? So this is a fantasy duology debut from someone who has written YA horror in the past. So obviously this is a much bigger book than, her other book happens to be right here. much smaller, right? And I heard from a couple of people that had read the arc of this that it was very info dumpy, very dense, and so that just kind of scares me. The book is still beautiful. I ended up purchasing it just a couple weeks ago when Barnes & Noble was doing their half off sale. So it was 50% off. It's such a pretty book. Okay, then we had Misrule by Heather Walter. This is the second book in the Malice duology. And I did read this one. I only ended up giving it 3 stars. It was actually really, really disappointing because Malice was a 5-star book for me. Could potentially make my best books of the year. And this one was just written so differently. I just feel like the pacing was so different. This one was just kind of boring, honestly. I couldn't get into it the same way that I got into Malice. Okay, we had I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This is her YA debut. I've absolutely loved her adult books, and then this was her YA book. I ended up giving 3 stars. I definitely think I'm in the minority here. I think a lot of people really, really liked this book. I just couldn't connect with the character. She was just such an unlikable character that I didn't care really what happened to her. So I gave it 3 stars. Then we had Book of Night by Holly Black, another book that is super controversial. I think a lot of people did not like this book. I really liked it. I thought that the vibes were great. It was kind of like dark and mysterious. She was a little bit prickly of a main character, but not in like a terrible person kind of way. You know what I mean, right? Yeah, it's very different from her Cruel Prince series, but it was still really good, and I liked it. So here we are. I'm definitely in the minority here, but I like this one. Okay, and then the other one that I haven't read yet is Set on You by Amy Leah. I am planning on reading this one relatively soon. It is for a video project, and this is a contemporary romance about a plus-size fitness influencer, which I really like to see. So I'm really excited about this one, but I have heard some mixed reviews. Some people did not like it at all. So a little bit hesitant, but it is for a video project. Okay, I had Chef's Kiss by TJ Alexander. I'm counting this one as being read. I actually DNF'd it. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Yeah, no. We're not going to talk about this one. I'll link you to my wrap-up for this, where I go on a rant about it. But I did like Home Field Advantage by Dahlia Adler. This is a YA contemporary romance. It's sapphic. It's so sweet. It's so happy. It's about a cheerleader and the female quarterback of the football team. I love this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. The second Katie Robert book that I have on this list, like, she's pumping them out, right? Wicked Beauty. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Olympus series. And I gave this one 4 stars. This is the Achilles, Patroclus, and Helen of Troy. So it's Polly. It was very steamy. It's kind of hate to love, or not hate to love, but rivals to lovers. And it was fun time, right? Okay. It's my least favorite of the 3, but I still enjoyed it. Then we have A Mirror Mended by Alex E. Harrow. This is the second book to A Spindle Splintered. It is a kind of reimagining of the Sleeping Beauty story, another kind of Maleficent romance. I've read a lot of those recently, and I kind of love them. But here we are. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I don't think that the pacing was as good as it was in the first one. It is, I mean, they're very short, right? But half of this book felt like it was unnecessary. So the pacing was just off on this one. So I'll still continue the series, but that one was a disappointment for me. And then lastly, for quarter 2, we had The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I actually just finished this one a couple of days ago. And I gave it 2 stars. Like, you should go watch my anticipated releases video because I was so excited about this book, right? I was like, it's similar to Home Before Dark. God, no, it is not. Who the heck was I trying to fool there, right? I don't know. This is not what we asked for, Riley Sager. This is not what we asked for, okay? We don't want this book. Anyways, 2 stars. I don't know that I'm done with Riley Sager. I do want to read Survive the Night, but, like, I don't know that he'll go on an anticipated releases video again. I don't know. After that, he burned me. Then we have quarter 3, which is July, August, September. Obviously, not all of that has happened yet, so we don't have those books yet. But there are 5 that have been released so far, and of those, I have read 2 of them. The first one is The Romance Recipe by Ruby Barrett. I just read this one. I talked about it in my mid-month wrap-up. and this one was 4.5 stars. I really liked it. This is probably my favorite restaurant romance that I have read. It's sapphic. It's beautiful. This book was beautiful. I just want it to be like 50 pages longer, and I needed just a little bit more from the characters. Then we have Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This is a science fiction about like people messing with people's genomes, I think. I haven't read this one yet, obviously. It is on my August TBR, so we'll see if I get to it this month. So it's still an anticipated release. Then we have A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in the Monk and Robot series, and I did read this one. I think I gave this one 4 stars. It was really cute. It's a little bit heavy-handed in the social commentary, but it was very cute. And then lastly, a book that just came out, so I have not read it yet. Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This is a thriller. I'm very excited about this one. I've heard some really good things about it. I've seen some early reviews that people have really liked it. I'm really excited about this one. It's about a woman who wakes up in the back of a taxi and doesn't remember what happened. The writing on her hand says stay awake, and I don't know if it's like every time she falls asleep she forgets things. Don't know. Very excited about this one. Okay, so we've got 21 books here on this list that I've just talked about that have come out so far, and of those 21, I've read 15 of them, which I think is a pretty good statistic. It's a little over 71%. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy where we're at, especially since some of them like literally have just come out, right? Like I picked this book up 2 days ago. Obviously, I haven't gotten to it yet. Let me know down in the comments below if there are any of these 6 that I haven't read that you would like me to read or that you want me to read quicker than others. Maybe I'll do a vlog reading the anticipated releases that I haven't read yet. That might be interesting. So that's all I have for you today. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video, and all of the other links to my social media will be in the description below if you would like to be my friend on any other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!